I consider to be not really consistent with their products somehow. Even though some are really, really good, some are not so good. Like for example, the Tin T2 even right now is still one of the cult maybe in some of the audio enthusiast world, and even so the Tin T2 Plus is also a huge success, but the Tin 3 not so much. The Tin T4 was great though, and then the Tin T5 is considered one of their worst tuning actually. And this time I have an occasion to review their true wireless. Let's see how good they are. So first of all, thank you for Faris for providing me with this review unit. And this Tin Buds 3 is using a beryllium plated dynamic driver. So take a look at that case. I mean, it's a really unique, nice looking case. It's using one dynamic driver that is beryllium plated, and it costs around $89. So it's almost $100. And just like usual, I will break down this review from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison. Let's talk about the build quality first, from the case and also the IM itself, the true wireless I mean. The case itself is full aluminum, and they feels quite expensive for me, and it's quite unique. So you open it using like this, you turn it like this, and it will locked by itself. Because of this, somehow there's a magnet mechanism around this part. Hope you could see, yeah, there's a mechanism for the magnet around this part, so it closed with magnet just like that. And open it is really easy. I know it's not really pocket friendly, but at least it does looks really cool. And the true wireless itself, I would say it's almost really looks like a really usual IM. I mean, take a look at this shape. It's almost a custom IM looks, but you get this charger plate around this part, and you get no dual pin or MMSX connector for sure. But the shape itself is really reminds me of a regular IM, and yeah, they're a bit on the thick side for true wireless. They are quite big for true wireless, but for me they looks and feels just fine. They all made of plastic, I think, or resin, and they fit just fine into my ears. But personally, I think for a true wireless, they kind of stand out really much. You could see how thick they are when I'm using them in my ears. Okay, let's talk about the frequency response of this IM. And just like usual, you could also browse yourself my frequency response in aftersound.squig.link. And this is how they look in frequency response. Sorry, I'm still charging my phone. So as you can see, it is some way I could simply say that this IM, this true wireless, is a V-shaped IM. It's a V-shaped true wireless. Yeah, I know the channel matching isn't really good, especially there's a difference around the mid bass to bass area, sub bass area, but it's mostly elevated in the mid bass and also the upper mid range to lower treble area. So yeah, simply said, it is a V-shaped IM that has emphasized around the bass and upper mid-range and around the lower treble. So how they sound? Well, for me, they sound quite fierce and a bit spicy. But the good thing about this IM is how fast and quite resolution. They have good resolution. So they personally, for me, I think straight from the beginning, and when I have heard them for some hours and some days lately, for me this Tin Buds 3 is more suitable for music like rock or metal genre, because they have this kind of sharp sounding tonality that has emphasized more in the upper to treble region, and also really punchy but mid-bassy, but really fast-bass. Now I'm gonna break down this tonality verse from the bass. For me, the bass of this IM, of this true wireless, is more on the mid-bass side. It's not on the sub-bass. So when I'm hearing some EDMs or when I'm hearing some pop music, I don't really feel that sub-bass depth. I feel more like a mid-bassy sound of bass here, but it's really, really fast and quite impactful. So if you need a fast bass for metal and rock music, this will definitely give you that. and also the mid-range is on the leaner side. So vocalists like Ed Sheeran or maybe just Michael Bublé, for me sounds not as thick, not as natural as they should be. I still find that the vocal is on the leaner, on the thin side here. So it's more giving upper mid-range rather than lower mid-range. It's not a really balanced vocal for me. But for female vocal, yes, it will sound quite forward and quite clear actually. But the thing that I don't really like is somehow the texture of the vocal is mostly kind of dry. So yeah, again, it is forward, it's mostly prominent on the upper mid-range, and it's kind of dry. So yeah, again, for me, it's more suitable for rock vocals that, you know, it has this kind of a fierceness to their sound when they scream. You got that sensation here really good, and also when you hear some guitar note, you get that guitar bite in this true wireless really good with really good fast speed. And yeah, for me it's more suitable for those kind of genre. It doesn't really suitable for vocal and soothing kind of genre. When you hear acoustic music, for me they simply sounds kind of too dry sometimes. And the treble part, it's also in line with the fastness of the bass and also the leaning of the mid-range. The treble on this AM is also quite forward, and for me personally it's too forward. So when I'm hearing some music that has a lot of trebles, this will give you some kind of sharp sibilance in some place, but it's not really extended either. But so yeah, personally I don't really like this kind of treble, but yeah, it will maybe help to give those some little bites when you hear some rock or metal music. It's like this tonality is made me remember of the NF Audio NM2 or NM2 Plus that has this kind of fierceness towards the sound, even though the bass doesn't really go to the sub bass, it's more on the beat bass, but it's punchy and it's fast. So again, when I have tried a lot of genre, for me the tonality is mostly suitable for that metal or a rock kind of genre that needs a lot of speed, a lot of mid-bass punch, and also a lot of fierceness for the vocal and also treble region. And talking about the technical of this AM, is actually quite good. For me, for a true wireless around this price point, I hear a lot of details and really good resolution because of that fast-paced bass, and also that you hear a lot of treble cymbal strikes here, and that resolution because of that impact and speed. It gives you a lot of micro nuances that you will get in a lot of music. You will get a lot of details, and you will get a lot of resolution from a lot of music. It doesn't really sounds mixed when you hear music with a lot of elements. It will gives you a good separation and good resolution and details. But yeah, it's not for everyone because of how fierce they sound. It is mostly made for maybe some complex music if you like rock or metal music that has a lot of details, that has a lot of bite, that has a lot of elements in it. So how is it compared to some of the true wireless IM that I have heard? Let's compare them with the maybe one of the wireless that is quite well known, like the Feel T1 Pro. Actually, the Feel T1 Pro, I don't have it right now, but I have reviewed that and heard it and also measured that. And as far as I remember, they do definitely sounds like this. The Feel T1 Pro is the red line, while the Tin Buds Plus is on the green line here. It's definitely the Feel T1 Pro is much more bassy, especially you guys see that much bassier side here, and also much simply more smooth mid-range and treble area. So yeah, when you see that peaks around the Tin Buds Plus, you don't really get that in the Feel T1 Pro. It is simply much more warmer sounding, but for me it's not as resolving as this Tin Buds Pro. I'm sorry, Tin Buds 3. For me, this Tin Buds 3 has a really good resolution for like simply saying that the true wireless world. And also comparing them with this Live Protect TV. For me, I have heard the Light Protect Heavy, and for me, it's still one of the most balanced sounding true wireless that sound almost neutral even. But the sense of resolution, the sharpness of the notes, the impacts, and also the details that I do find, I remember that this Thin Buds 3 is still a little bit better. And so, for me, the conclusion of this Thin Buds 3 is mostly, well, this is a quite good true wireless. It could be recommended in this price range if you are into those kind of genre. If you like your music to be really fast, it doesn't really goes deep into the sub bass. If you're fine with that, if you're okay with very fast bass, and if you are okay with that kind of lean mid-range but fierce mid-range and treble area that gives a lot of bite and a lot of energy for rocks and metal music, I would say that this Thin Buds 3 is recommended for you. But if you are someone who prefers more of a natural and also a soother and soothing kind of tonality, you will not get here. It will be too spicy for you. So I think that's all I could say about this item. It's quite pretty good. It's different from other thin hi-fi that I have ever tried. It's not bad, but it's kind of niche. It's not for everyone. It's not for mass market. It's mainly, I think, it's more for someone who prefer that kind of genre. Okay, I think that's all I could say about this Thin Hi-Fi Buds 3. So if you have any question, please write down in the comments below. And I think that's all. So see you next time. Bye bye.